All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Adrian Carmona, and I want to welcome you guys once again to another edition of the Varsity Live Postgame Show. Once again, my name is Adrian Carmona from the Varsity Sports Show, and very excited to be joining you guys. Once again, we have a loaded slate with a lot of postgame reports from Buckeye, Saguaro, Horizon, Brophy, Mountain View, and Tucson. Tusson, sorry. Um, a lot of good games happening this week. If you were here for the pregame show uh, back at 6 p.m. your time, you can tell we had a lot of good matchups this week. And now is your chance to get the recap of those matchups. So, first, we're going to start off right away. We're going to go to Travis Bradley, who's going to give us the Buckeye postgame report. And Travis, how's it going?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good. Well, yeah, just wrapping up some liveliness going on down here in Buckeye, but just wrapping up from that matchup, really a tale of two different teams. Thunderbird coming out on top, 50-7 was the final score. It really just it was a matter of being able to stop the ball, and honestly, Buckeye just struggled with that tonight. Both Elijah Little and Daryl Little they probably accumulated a total of 400 yards between the two of them tonight for the Thunderbird team. Elijah Little actually blew us all away. Might have set the record for the longest touchdown run in Arizona State football history. Deep punt pinned them back on their own half-yard line. Next play, almost 100-yard touchdown run from Elijah Little. So really, just like I said, two different teams tonight, two different outcomes.
Yeah, well, very one-sided game, but a lot to be excited about from that game, especially from Elijah Little, who you mentioned. Thank you again, Travis, for joining us tonight. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, so that was Travis Bradley with the Buckeye postgame. Like he said so eloquently, tale of two teams. Big props to Elijah Little, who he mentioned, dominant on the ground game. Yeah, just overall great performance from him. So we're now going to take it over to Bella Casey, who's going to give us the Saguaro postgame report. Bella, how's it going?
It's going good. So Saguaro did lose tonight again against Liberty. It was a tough game for them as their senior night. Didn't go out as strong as they hoped to. It was 43-14, and then our player of the game was Nico Procopio, I believe his last name was, and he just had a great game. He balled out tonight, and then he wanted to really thank his seniors for pushing him through the year this year and this season.
Yep, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bella, for your postgame report. Have you have a good night.
You too.
All right, so that was Bella with her post-game report on Saguaro. Saguaro did get their first win of the season last week, but unfortunately they come up short this Friday night or Saturday morning for me over here in Florida, 43-14. Despite the loss, I think Saguaro does have some things to look forward to, especially with the momentum they gained from last week. But unfortunately, a tough loss to a very good Liberty team who now moves to 7-1 on the season. Now we're going to take it over to Riley Garcia, who's going to be giving us the recap of the Horizon game. Riley, how's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing great.
So I was at the Horizon versus Higley matchup, and let's just say this matchup was very back and forth here because Horizon taking on last year's 5A state champions, and this was a game where they were really looking to put up a fight, and they definitely did that because that first half, the Horizon led 17-7. However, Higley, being last year's state champions, were not going to let this get away from them. They managed to cut and eventually in the fourth quarter, this game was tied up 24-24. Came down to 2 seconds left where a Horizon field goal by Palmer Podwika ends up kicking the game winner to win the game 27-24 for the Horizon Huskies.
Yep. Very close game as I'm looking right now. Really went down to the wire. Well, thank you, Riley, for that post-game report. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, and that was Riley Garcia with the Horizon post-game report. And yeah, as he said, very interesting game went down to the wire. Horizon was up 17-7 at one point, but Higley did end up tying the game, but Horizon gets the win and yet another impressive win for them. Jace Ashley, senior for Horizon, threw 2 touchdown passes. He was once again very clutch for them. They also were very efficient on the ground, 4.8 yards a carry, touchdown from Jace Ashley again. So 3 total touchdowns on the night. And yeah, just a very impressive win for Horizon. If you're just joining us now, my name is Adrian Carmona with another edition of the Varsity Live Postgame Show. We have just done some recaps of the Buckeye, Saguaro, and Horizon games that just occurred tonight. Saguaro did unfortunately lose after grabbing their first win of the season last week. They fell to Liberty 43-14. Liberty, just a very good team. One of the top dogs of that conference. I believe they are now they move up to 7-1 on the season. Oh, sorry. And yeah, they've just been very productive team, very dominant team from the get-go to start this season. And yeah, just very impressive to see what they've been doing. Sorry. And Horizon did just defeat Higley 27-24 in what was a very tight game. Horizon does win on a game-winning field goal. I hope you guys were able to join the pregame show and the Varsity National Live postgame show, where I was able to host other interns and reporters from around the country in places like Philadelphia and Indiana, and I was able to give a postgame report on a lot of Florida high school football that did occur that night, which was once again very interesting because, as you know, we have reached or are about to conclude week 10 of the football season, in which a lot of games matter for postseason standings and just have a lot of playoff implications. So for the rest of the night, we will hopefully be getting the Brophy, Mountain View, and Tustin postgame reports. We will have those waiting in the chamber for all of you guys that are joining us. And yeah, so honestly, just a very big month for all the sports. World Series Game 1 also did just happen tonight. What a game that was. The Dodgers did pull out 6-3 against the New York Yankees thanks to a Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 10th inning. What a game that was. And as you know, NBA season starting up again. We just finished the second game of the season. And yeah, NBA starting to heat up. NHL, I believe we're in about the second or third week of that starting. So, all the major sports coming together at one time is really just the best time of the year, in my opinion, when all 4 major sports are playing at the same time. And yeah, so as we wait for that Mountain View post-game report, they played this week against Taliesin. Brophy also played this week. We'll be getting that post-game review soon, and we'll be waiting for the Tustin post-game report. Florida football. Sorry, a little bit of sickness. But yeah, Florida high school football was also very interesting this week. We got some big matchups with ranked teams such as American Heritage against St. Thomas Aquinas. That was a really good game in which American Heritage actually defeated Aquinas for the first time in school history. So that was very interesting to see. But yeah, as we get to, the latter half of the regular season in football for all 3 levels, high school, professional, and college, a lot of these games now start counting for postseason standings. So, there's some extra pressure for every team that is playing this week. And yeah, if you're just joining us now, my name is Adrian Carmona, once again hosting the Varsity Live postgame show. We have gotten the recaps for Buckeye, Saguaro, and Horizon for all those games. If you were here in the if you're here for the pregame show, these were all the games that we did preview. So we'll be getting the postgame. We'll be getting the postgame reports for all of these teams now. So we're actually going to move on to Olivia, who's going to be giving us the Mountain View postgame report. Olivia, how's it going?
Hey, it's good. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, so pretty good game for Mountain View tonight. You know, they took the win 57-6. We saw a running clock in that fourth quarter for Mountain View as they were up. I believe if you have a 30-point lead, AIA rules say that you can start running the clock. So yeah, pretty good game by Mountain View. We first saw a touchdown from Goodman to Galvez in pretty early on in that first quarter, getting them on the board 7-0, and then we had another touchdown, making the score 14-0 again in that first quarter. So it was a really strong first quarter for the Toros. And then from Tolson, we saw number 2 Blasingame, who was really their saving grace for the Wolverines, getting a touchdown in the last 3 seconds of the first quarter, and that was the only time they scored throughout the whole entire game. We saw a lot of success from Mountain View for their 2-point conversions. They felt very comfortable running those 2-point conversions to get extra points on the board. So yeah, we were 36-6 at halftime. We saw another rushing touch. We saw actually a rushing touchdown from Goodman in that third quarter, and then another 2-point conversion there. And then Mountain View was able to just continue their run, getting up into the 50s. And then in that fourth quarter, they really just took the game slow, took it into their own hands as they were running the clock out. The Wolverines, you know, played a pretty good game, just were unable to really pull through against a really strong offensive and defensive team that the Toros have this season.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you, Olivia, for your postgame report. Hope you have a good night.
Yeah, thanks, you too.
All right, so big thanks to Olivia for giving us the post-game report on Mountain View. Once again, another dominant win for them. They just defeated Mesa last week 63-30, and now winning 57-6. Not every day you see a running clock and heading into the fourth quarter, but that, I think, just speaks to how dominant of a team Mountain View has been this year. So now we're going to take it over to Paisley, who's going to be giving us the post-game report on Brophy. Paisley, how's it going?
Hi, it's going well. How are you?
Doing great.
Cool. Yeah, so let's get it started. So it was Brophy's senior night Thursday, and it was just always a great turnout. You know, the students, the parents, there's even a DJ booth if you guys didn't know. And so Brophy is now 7-1 on the season. They took down those Corona del Sol Aztecs. That ending score was 45-14. And what's interesting about this game is Brophy was pretty dominant the whole time. At one point, it was 45-0, and Corona Aztecs just came out on there in the fourth quarter, and they had 2 touchdowns there at the end of the game, which it was good to see this team fighting because Brophy is such a dominant force this season. And, you know, and Brophy has won 4 games, and those scores have been 30 points. And, you know, that's a very dominant team offensively and defensively. And, you know, the starting quarterback, Case Vanden Bosch, he rushed for 58 yards, had a touchdown, threw for 115 yards, and he completed 75% of his passes. And I must say, Junior Dalen Sharper, he picked up 54 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. And I also want to shout out Ryan Umphrey. He started sharing duties with Vanden Bosch since freshman and junior year. And for Brophy to have 2 quarterbacks that are accurate and they get plays going, like, that is just so special. Ryan Humphreys came in. He had an ankle injury earlier this season, and for him to come in and have such an impressive game is amazing. And shout out to Harrison Chambers, absolutely just such a runner. And that's the one thing about this Brophy team is absolutely just such a run game type of team, Adrian.
Yep, absolutely. Hit the nail right on the head. with that team and their dominance this season. Well, thank you once again for another great post-game report. Hope you have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
All right, so that was Paisley with the Brophy post-game, and she really said it perfectly. Speaks to how good of a team Brophy has been this year. Once again, another dominant win. And love the shout-out to Rylan Humphrey with his game coming back from an ankle injury. And good shout-out to Baden Bosch, who, once again, impressive on the ground and through the air. 3 total touchdowns. Speaks to really how dominant of a force Brophy is offensively. So now for our last guest of the night, we're going to have Kiana, who is going to be giving us the post-game report on the Tussin game. Kiana, how's it going?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Doing great.
It's been good. It was a good night. It was definitely a slow night. Tucson was definitely the bigger and stronger team. They ended up, I lost count, but got up into the 40s, 40 to, I believe it was 12 from Flowing Wells. So Flowing Wells had a really hard time scoring. What Griffin and I noticed the most is that they were doing kind of just the run game throughout the whole game, and the Tucson defense just picked up on it pretty quickly. Flowing Wells was actually the first to score out of the two, and they were able to get ahead, but as soon as the Tucson team read their play, they were pretty quick to pick that up and left them scoreless throughout the second quarter, and then I believe that they scored one more time in the third. Yeah,
Yep,
not a lot
awesome.
of action. Tucson was really strong, though. Senior night, it was great. The weather was beautiful. It's family weekend out here at the University of Arizona. So definitely really busy out. A lot of busyness around the school. It's in the heart of downtown, so it was a great night.
Yeah, absolutely. Love those senior nights. Always a great atmosphere there. Well, thank you, Kiana, for your post-game report. Hope you have a good night.
Awesome. Thank you, Adrian.
All right, big thanks to Kiana for her Tussin post-game report. Maybe big emphasis on the senior nights for a lot of these games. Always super important, and a lot of emphasis on the weight of these games as we head closer to postseason football. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us tonight, and once again putting on another good performance for all of our post-game reports. I want to thank everyone for joining tonight on another edition of the Varsity Live Postgame Show. Want to remind you guys to please follow us on all our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And once again, my name is Adrian Carmona from the Varsity Sports Show, signing off. Hope you guys all have a good night.